On the ball, it is time for Premier League predictions once again. Me and Sim going head to head, 204 to 207. Very close gap going into game week 22 this weekend. Big fixtures, actually quite hard ones to predict, to be honest, this one. Big fixtures, big clashes. The way the scoring works is 5 points for a correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. Star man, once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. And it's 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. And let's get into the weekend's action. Starting off at the London Stadium, West Ham finally won a game at the expense of Tottenham Hotspur against Sunderland with a lot of players back from the AFCON. And yeah, we're both going for 1-1.
Yeah, I think West Ham will get that boost from getting that win. That was massive for them. They were
nothing like Dr. Tottenham to spring you back into gear.
Just because they beat Spurs, does it mean everything's rosy and they've turned a corner? We'll have to wait and see. But I do think Sunderland at home is a fixture which I think is a good one to follow up the Tottenham game with, because Sunderland's home away form is actually not great, and they've only scored 5 goals away from home. They rely a lot on their defensive solidity. Their main form has been at home. So I think away from home, with the boost of getting that win against Spurs, will the atmosphere, be supportive on this occasion? Although West Ham's home form has been utter dross. They're 19th in the league at the moment for home form. So I don't know if they're going to be good enough to win the game, but I think a better performance, and I do think they'll get the result here. I think it'll be a tight game with Sunderland not scoring many goals. I think West Ham will find a goal from somewhere, and I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, look, I think West Ham will start this game with their tails up, to be honest. I think there'll be some energy within that team, obviously on the back of a brilliant game and a brilliant, probably their best performance and best result of the season so far. But, Sunderland are kind of like the draw specialists in the Premier League this season, and I can see them going and frustrating this West Ham side. I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham take an early lead and then Sunderland get it back at some point during the second half. So, yeah, I feel like I'm not sure if West Ham are going to be able to keep up those energy levels throughout the whole 90 minutes, and I think they'll revert back to type at some point, and I think Sunderland will take advantage of that. So yeah, both gone 1-1 in this game. Next up, it is Burnley against Tottenham at Turf Moor. Spurs are desperate to back up that really good performance against Dortmund in the Premier League. If it's anything but a Spurs win, it could be Thomas Frank's last game, but we say that pretty much every game at this point. But yeah, look, I think it'll be a tough game for Spurs, with Burnley probably going to set up to frustrate. It's going to be a very different game to what Spurs envisaged, or what Spurs took a part of on Tuesday night against Dortmund in the Champions League. It won't be that much space, and it's going to be on Spurs to break down this Burnley side, which we know Spurs have struggled with those kind of aspects a lot this season. So I can see Spurs getting a goal from somewhere and maybe being resolute enough to keep Burnley out the other end, but it's not going to be pretty. But I've just decided with Spurs just about to get the win.
Yeah, Thomas Frank at the moment in a Spurs job by the skin of his teeth, but it was a brilliant performance and a brilliant result in midweek. So hopefully will galvanise the team and galvanise the manager. They need to kind of stick with that way of playing. Now, going away to Burnley, we know as you say, they're going to sit low block. They're going to try and frustrate Spurs. And I think Tottenham, we'll see kind of what injuries they have with. They've lost Bergvall. Will Xavi Simons be fit for this game? There's a lot of question marks going into it. So I don't see it being an easy game for Tottenham whatsoever. I think it's going to be one of those tough fixtures where it's going to be a real physical battle, and I think it's going to be 1-0 set piece, and I think Tottenham should have enough defensively to keep Burnley out. And I think if we keep a clean sheet in this game, I'm confident that Spurs will win the game, but I don't see it being a battering by any stretch. I think it's going to be a tight game where I think it'll be in the balance for a lot of it, and I've gone for Tottenham to shave it 1-0.
Yeah, a lot of selection headaches as well for Tottenham, because a lot of injuries. Bergvall now with another 2-3 monther. And it's going to be interesting to see who does line up in midfield for Spurs in this one. But let's move on to Fulham against Brighton. Again, we've gone for the same scoreline here, 2-1 to Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham, I feel like, first of all, they have a very good home record. They're in really... I know they lost the last game, but they're in pretty good form this season in the last month or so. They've really kind of turned around their form from early in the season where it looked like they might be struggling for a relegation battle. Now they're right in the mix for Europe. And I feel like when they come up against teams who have like a set way of playing, I feel like Fulham are very adaptable, especially at home. They kind of exploit the opposition's weaknesses. But when they come up against other teams who try to adapt to them, all of a sudden they kind of struggle. And I feel like against a Brighton side who we know that they're going to go there. They're going to play kind of possession-based football, and they have a set way of playing. I think Fulham like playing against those kind of teams, and I think they'll get some joy here. So I went for 2-1.
Yeah. Both these sides coming into this banging form, to be honest. Brighton unbeaten in their last 5 games. Fulham 1 loss in their last 5 games, and that came in the last game in tight away encounter against Leeds. So both will definitely fancy their chances. Like you say, Brighton will probably, the onus will be on them to try and break down this Fulham side, but I think they'll be resolute and catch Brighton out down the other end. So I'm looking at Brighton's away form. It's not good, to be honest. It's 1 win in their last, 2 wins in their last 10, I think it is.
That's all their away games, isn't it?
Yeah.
Two wins all season.
2 wins all season. So, yeah, it's not great. Not great at all. So, yeah, I can see them struggling this weekend against Fulham. And Fulham, look, a lot of people saying, when they're still their early season form, saying, they're going to be in a relegation battle, but they're well clear of that now. Man City against Wolves. Both of us gone again for the same scoreline, 2-0 to Wolves. I promise you guys we're not fixing this. 2-0 to Man City. I think doesn't really need too much explaining. Man City at the top. They're on bad form. They haven't won in the last 4 games. They need a win desperately against Wolves, who are bottom of the league, who have turned it around a little bit. They're starting to get a few points on the board, but yeah, I think they'll finally lose here against Man City, who they just need to get a win by hook or by crook. It doesn't matter how it comes.
Yeah, and I think Guehi should be making his debut in this game, so that obviously really helped Man City just shut the back door, which has been very leaky in the past few games. After they looked like they found a formula with the injuries to their defenders, it's obviously really hurt them. They're now conceding way too many goals. So I think Guehi will really help. We know they've got the quality to break down this Wolves side. And as much as Wolves are on a little unbeaten run, 5 in a row at the moment, in all competitions unbeaten, so fair play to them. I just think this will be a step too far. I'll be shocked if they go to the Etihad and get anything. But I don't see it being a battering. I think it'll just be a nice 2-0 win for Man City.
Bournemouth against Liverpool. Finally, we've gone for a different result in this game. Sim has gone for 2-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah, I think looking at their game against Brighton in midweek, they kind of lacked that cutting edge, which obviously Semenyo would give them. Losing him's obviously been a big blow. They have now, looks like they replaced him. Ryan is coming in. Whether he's going to be available for this game, I don't know. But I feel like it's going to be a game of lots of chances at both ends. We know how Bournemouth play. We know how Liverpool play. Liverpool, to be fair to them, we've got to give them a bit of respect. They are unbeaten now in, 11 games, albeit a lot of them have been draws, but very good win in midweek against a good Marseille team, beating them 3-0 in the Champions League away from home. Ekitike is obviously still in flying form. They've still got players in the forward line doing really well. Wirtz is now acclimatised into Premier League. So I think they will get the goals, and I think Bournemouth will get the chances, but I don't know if I'll have that cutting edge to take a point. So I went for a 2-1 win to Liverpool.
Yeah, Bournemouth, obviously a very good home side, but when the big boys come to town, they really seem to find another level. Obviously, the last big team, or I don't know if you can call them a big team anymore, but Tottenham came and Bournemouth won the game 3-2. Before that, Arsenal came. They gave them a really good game, created so many chances, just lost 3-2. They drew against Chelsea. They drew against Newcastle. So, they put in really big performances against the big sides. And a vulnerable Liverpool side here coming to Bournemouth. And like you said, it's going to be a chance at either end. 5:30, under the lights. I think it's going to be a blockbuster of a game. And I think Bournemouth and Liverpool will do enough just to take a point from the game. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch this one, to be honest. Brentford against Nottingham Forest. Again, we've gone for different scorelines. That's great. Sim's gone for 2-2. I have gone for 3-1 to Brentford. I know this isn't the kind of game where you'd expect Brentford, because Nottingham Forest and under Sean Dyche, they're going to sit in and they're going to try and frustrate this Brentford side. But I think the home form of Brentford is just so fantastic this season. It doesn't matter who comes there. It seems like they give anyone a really good game. And I feel like if Brentford get the early goal, the floodgates could open a little bit here. So Otara's back as well. So that, after the AFCON, their favoured front three back in action. So yeah, I can see it being kind of a tiny bit of a landslide victory to Brentford. Yeah,
I went for 2-2. I think Forest have the quality in their front line to really hurt this Brentford team. And I think Brentford are going to come flying out the traps. I think they're going to, with their unbelievable home form this season and their confidence, they're obviously going to really go at Nottingham Forest. And I think Forest could exploit that, because I do think they've got some good players going forward. And I think they will earmark this as one of the games they need to try and go and win. I don't think a draw, I know on paper, draw's not a bad result, but I think when you play a team like Brentford, when you look at the two squads, they're not far apart. And I think Sean Dyche will look at this game and think, if we go at them a bit, we can really get something out of this.
Sean Dyche, and have they scored 2 in a game apart from the Tottenham game? I don't know if they have.
Have they not?
I don't think so.
Well, I'm going for them to do it in this game.
All right. Next up is Palace against Chelsea. London derby at Selhurst Park. Sim has gone for 2-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah. What have you made of Rossini early doors? I mean, it's a bit mixed. I mean, they've getting the results.
It's too early to tell.
I know, but still, like to make early judgments. Like, I guess it's hard coming in mid-season when you need to imprint your ideas. Arsenal, they were okay-ish, but well beaten. Paphos in midweek.
Poor against Arsenal.
Paphos in midweek.
I didn't see any of the game last night, but
Yesterday,
I heard it weren't great.
1-0, not particularly impressive.
2-0 against Brentford.
2-0 against Brentford was a good win, but wasn't like the best performance. So Palace away is obviously a tough tie, but obviously not all is well at Palace, is there? Mateta is now looking to leave as well. He's pushing for the exit. Just like at the moment, Glasner, he's cutting a frustrated figure. He's obviously made things very clear in the press what's going on there. And I feel like it's really affecting the Palace on the pitch as well, because they're now 10 without a win in all competitions. And I feel like Chelsea, it might not be the best performance, but I just feel like Palace are not all pulling in the same direction right now, unfortunately. And I think Chelsea will take advantage of it. So I've gone for a 2-0.
Yeah, pretty much similar feeling. I just feel like Palace will get a goal. Things are all not well there, but they've still got quality in the team where they can put the ball in the back of net. There is a suggestion that Munoz could be back for this game as well. And if he is, I don't know if he'll be ready to start, but if he is available, it's a massive plus for Crystal Palace in the way they want to play. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a great one for the neutral, to be honest. I think Chelsea do enough to get over the line, but I think they'll be the better team. But I just feel Palace will get one back at some point, maybe a consolation towards the end of the game. So Chelsea to win 2-1. Cole Palmer was fully rested in the Champions League midweek, so he'll be chomping at the bit to get on and provide for the new manager. Next up is Newcastle against Aston Villa. Sim has gone for 3-1. I have gone for 2-1 to Newcastle. I see it being a bit of a tighter game at St James's Park, but Newcastle are just a fantastic home side, no matter who they're playing against. Villa, letting it slip a little bit recently, obviously didn't win in their last game, and yeah, if they had any sort of ambitions or dreams to win that title, it does seem like it's floating away a little bit, but still getting positive results in the main. But I can't see them going into St James's Park and taking anything, but I see it being a fairly tight game.
I think Newcastle, the type of team that Villa really don't like facing. I think that quick transition, direct attacking style that they have, I think if he starts Whisper up front as well.
Villa beat them 4-1 last season, didn't they?
Villa beat them 4-1 last season. No, didn't Newcastle beat them 4-0?
No, Villa beat them 4-1.
Maybe it was the season before. It was opening day. Newcastle beat them 4-0, I remember. But I can't remember. Maybe it was the season before. But I don't think that
was in 2022.
Okay, that was too long ago then. But I think Newcastle. I really think Newcastle type of team, especially St James's Park, Villa don't like facing, and I think they're going to be exploited here, in my opinion. And I think Villa as well, as you say, they were running hot. It was a brilliant kind of run of form. But I don't expect it to carry on. I think it's going to start to revert a bit now. And losing at home to Everton is the first sign of that, I think. And I think it's going to continue here.
Arsenal against Manchester United. Back to the norms. Picked the exact same result. 2-1 to Arsenal. Look, Manchester United started life under Michael Carrick, the new interim, absolutely in flying form, haven't they? They played Man City off the park last week, let's be honest. But Carrick couldn't have asked for a harder 2 first games as interim manager. Man City at home in the derby and now Arsenal away. And I feel like Man United might fancy it a little bit with their tails up, but I just feel that they're going to just come up against a better side on the day. I feel like it's going to be a good game of football. I do think there's going to be chances at either end, but I just think the quality is going to tell pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. I think United are going to be... They got a breath of fresh air with Michael Carrick. You saw that performance against City. They really did brilliantly in that game. And I think they'll take that into this game, the way they counter-attacked Man City and they exploited them. But I don't think Arsenal are going to be as vulnerable or leave as much space in behind as Man City did. So I expect they will create a few chances, but against United, against City, how many chances they create? Lots and lots of chances. It'll be a premium in this one. I do expect them to score a goal, but I also think Arsenal are just going to be too good. They've got the squad for it, and I think United, as much as they will have an improved performance, it won't be enough to get a point.
Everton against Leeds, both of us gone for the same in 1-1. What are you feeling for this one?
Yeah, I couldn't really split them. I felt like Leeds are in good form. They're hard to beat at the moment. They're picking up points. Everton, no Jack Grealish, so that creativity going to be out the team, although Dewsbury Hall is apparently back for this weekend. But as much as Everton are not easy to play out at home, I think the way Leeds are currently going, they're kind of running hot a bit, got a bit of momentum, and I think it'll be a good point if they can take one. So I've gone for a 1-1. Yeah,
look, Everton, after the really strong start of the Hill Dickinson, since the Spurs game, which was ages ago now, they've only won 2 home games, which is crazy. They just can't buy a win at the moment at home, and Leeds are just running so hot right now. Leeds have got to fancy their chances going to Everton this weekend, but I feel like, Monday night football, there's always that bit of that extra in the atmosphere, and I think that might, raise the performance levels a bit for Everton here, who have just been shocking at home recently. So, yeah, I think Everton might take the lead here, and Leeds to come on strong towards the end of the game with that bit of extra energy that they might have with the bit of confidence as well. So I've gone for 1-1. Starmen, Sim's gone for Harry Wilson.
A guy who's in form, and I think against a Brighton team who are going to leave spaces for him, all he needs is a yard at the moment, and he can make the difference and do damage. So gone for him at home to Brighton.
Yeah, I've gone for Ekitike. Obviously, he's in big form right now for Liverpool. They're massively lacking in firepower in the front line, and I think he's obviously going to start, and I think there's going to be goals flying in that game, and I think he's probably going to be central to it. So now I've said that's probably going to be 0-0. So, yeah, let us know who you think is going to come out on top. Let us know your predictions in the comments section below, and we'll see you after the weekend, people.